being recorded too, so you can go back and watch it later if you'd like. But if you do, what we're gonna do is, I'll be bringing, if you wanna share, I'll bring the microphone around to you where you're sitting. I'd like us to stand up. And you don't have to look at the camera, the camera's over there, you don't have to look at the camera, but please use the microphone and speak so that everyone can hear you. And then again, the memory will be recorded for everyone else to hear you.
How far, yeah, which side of the plant?
First we'll begin with the reading
Towards Chattanooga.
from Ben Testa.
We love Chattanooga, that's in this area.
Yeah, we go through the road.
Yeah.
When we're driving through here.
So I have a journey remembered. As some people journey through life, they leave footprints wherever they go. Footprints of kindness and love, courage and compassion, humor and inspiration, joy and faith. Even when they are gone, we can still look back and clearly see the trail they leave behind. A trail bright with hope that invites us to follow.
Thank you. And our worship band is going to lead us in the song When the Roll is Called Up Yonder.
So, yeah, it's been talking shop. Said, well, oh, sure. So that sheet. You're fine. Yeah, so I'm gonna talk.
When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and battle the people, and the morning breaks eternal bright and fair. When the sea and earth together float on the love, and the roll is rolling yonder out there. When the roll is called up yonder, when the roll is called up yonder, when the roll
Oh, Laura's taking one with you.
on that bright cloud morning when the day is bright, and the glory of the heaven rises. When the sun
sheer ice, but you couldn't see it. She came running around to come inside to go to the bathroom. And it's like this. And then her lips are falling on her face as her face is cut. You're fine.
Next, we have a reading from Donovan Zelman.
Right.
Accept one another, then, just as Christ accepted you, in order to bring praise to God.
Dick Jacobs.
What you are is God's gift to you, and what you do with yourself
didn't know each other that well. We both lived in Windsor, but I moved to Dalton when he was in Windsor. But I knew Ed's father because he drove our school bus. And I met his grandmother, Patty, because they owned a farm up in Windsor. And when I really did get to know Ed, when I joined the church here, we discussed our hip replacements. So he was asking me how I was doing, I was asking how he was doing. And that's how we got along most of the time. And so in his times coming here to church, when you're down here, I'd say, well, Ed, how's it doing? How's it going tonight? He said, well, I'm here, all right. And so, in the last few weeks of Ed just wanting to go to heaven, I went over to see him, and he was spry, he wanted to talk, and you'd never know, he was on his way out, he was ready, and he's thankful for that now, and I'm sure his wife is too. Well, thank you.
Amen, thank you, Dick. Okay, next, we have Nancy Kirsten.
This is a quote from Dr. Charles Stanley. And both Ed and Jan would watch his program every week before they came to church. And he would always say, boy, wasn't Dr. Stanley's message right on today? Now, trust God, obey God, and leave all the consequences to Him. My memory of Ed and Jan, many, many years ago, my husband was the youth leader here at the church. And of course, we knew the Turner kids very well. They were in the youth group. And Ed and Jan were always very supportive of us. If Guy wanted to do something where other people might say, oh, I don't think you should be doing that with the kids, they would say, go right ahead. My kids can come. So it was always a pleasure. And every year when the rhubarb started to poke up out of the ground in our garden, I would call them and I'd say, you coming up to pull rhubarb? Because it's coming up, and I got way too much for myself. And they would come up and they'd pull the rhubarb and have a great time baking with that, and freezing it too, I'm sure. So I have really good memories of them. And I know when I get to heaven, if I feel somebody poke me in the back, I'm sure I'll turn around and be Ed Turner, because that's what he used to like to do to people.
Thank you, Nancy. Worship band is going to lead us again.
One of the last times I
Song, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus.
Oh, soul, are you weary and troubled? No light in the darkness you see. There's a light
Don't worry about it.
In the light of His glory and grace.
Thing to keep in mind is with these hymns, that it's really, I know that Janine and Joe picked the hymns, but these were favorites of his. And it's just as if he was saying the words to you himself. So please keep that in mind. Well, now it's your turn. Anyone here would like to share a memory? And please, I hope everyone volunteers, but I hope, please, try to keep it brief. We want to give everyone, as many people as possible. We have somebody over here.
Well, the last 30 minutes, I mentioned with that, he would say, in all your ways acknowledge him and you will make your path straight. Every single time we saw him, he would say that. And it had to be said that.
Anyone else? Oh, right here, George.
Hi. My experience with that was that when the church first opened back in the early 70s, mid-70s, my parents would send me and my brother and sister. I can't go with you right now. And we had a good time, but my brother and I used to goof off a lot. And they used to come up behind us and say, "Why you in church?"
Over here, baby.
He used to pick us up with his bus, the joy bus, and we used to ride it every Sunday. And those were good memories.
Anyone else? Oh, you got one back there. Thank you for doing it all.
Somebody like my dad and daddy, a couple other people watching, no big deal. If I can quickly don't have you be quiet.
I stand on one. I just walked.
Rain or shine, didn't matter. He'd show up with a rake or a hammer, paintbrush, whatever you needed. It was wonderful. And we used to have men's breakfasts. And he was the guy that would eat about 5 pounds of bacon on a cooking sheet. Put it in the oven. The bacon was wonderful, but he was the most dangerous person with a tray full of hot fat walking around in our kitchen there. When that oven door opened, you knew, step back, Ed was on his way. So he will definitely be missed. He was a great guy. Thank you.
You ain't seen danger, you gotta see him when he's going after Yellow Jackets.
Anyone else?
That's dangerous. So we can guess.
So we hear some cheering back there, but they're not behind the mic here. Anyone else?
Right here, it's perpendicular.
The bacon story really isn't much. My father, when he would try to eliminate yellow jackets or any other bees in the ground, it was always with gasoline. And it was worse than the oven, believe me.
Me too. Whoa, whoa,
Thank you.
I think yours is.
Come on, there's gotta be other people. Be brave.
I know you made him. I was just punching her. Why?
Thank you so much, you guys.
I forgot the first.
Over to Chris.
I've only known Ed for a couple of years. He was a very generous person. He always, every summer, would give his extra tomatoes to Janine and Janine tried to farm off on me. They lost tomatoes. He grew too much again. But every time I plant my tomatoes in my garden, I think of Ed. It was great.
Most of the memories that have been shared are more recent. I was thinking about my dad the other day. He's kind of the bionic man. He had artificial knees, artificial hips, but I can remember when he could run and really run. We used to live in Peru, and the field above our house was blueberry field. And we would play hide and seek, and he would run and clear a bush and keep right on running. So I'm sure he's in heaven running.
Running from your mother, though.
Not yet, almost. Did mommy leave?
It's 4 minutes, so I don't have time.
Well, I'm sure you all know that the best way to keep someone alive is in the memories that you share. And to keep comforting each other, especially the memories that make us laugh. But the memories that make us cry are just as important. So please continue to do that in the coming weeks and months. Anyone else? Last chance. Oh, okay.
I could tell stories all night, but I won't. But the legacy that my parents leave, the honor that they lived with, the dignity that they treated each other, us children, and everybody they encountered, it is a legacy that I would aspire to, and I hope we all can try to have a little of that. I mean, my parents were good people to the core, and I hope that I can leave a fraction of that legacy when I go. But I think, on top of the stories, and there's a lot of great stories, that was who they were. Deep down from the core, were just decent, good people. They tried to live by the code that they had adopted through Jesus, that they would be good to all of them. And that was my experience as their son watching without their
Thank you.
No idea. It wasn't getting me.
When the pastor was talking, I was thinking, I always think of those people in my life that had a big impact. And I think of my grandmother on my mom's side, what an amazing woman she was. And I think of my mother-in-law, and what an amazing example she was. And I realized that Edward and Jan, Uncle Edward and Jan, they were always there. It wasn't the big, huge things. It wasn't the, wow, look at this impact. We think about, all the people in the Bible, like Moses and Jonah and go on and on, all the disciples, that did amazing things. But life isn't the amazing things. It's what we run the race that God puts before us, and that's what they did. When we saw them, they were always, their house was a loving house, a caring house, they accepted us. I ran to their house when I was a teenager and came to visit my grandfather, and that's where I established a lot of my core faith was through my cousins and through them and just through who they were and the example they set and the life that they lived. And they didn't shout it out at you, they didn't, shove it down your throat, they just lived the life that God put before them, and it was the that quiet, humble, beautiful faith with a laugh and a joke and hope inside. And, like my dad did the same thing. But those are the people that you don't think about as much. When you start thinking about where God brought you and who you are today, those are the ones that really make a difference in the world. So we don't have to, it reminded me that we don't have to run out of these amazing things. We just have to run the race that God puts before us faithfully and humbly and with faith.
Well, thank you all for sharing. As Pastor Brian said so well, it's really important to remember that, but it's more important to remember who he pointed to as the author and who guided his whole life. So please join us again as the worship band is going to lead us in one final song, a benediction song. The song is Commission.
The commission, yes.
that finishes the formal part of our program here tonight, so plenty of snacks left. We can make a fresh pot of coffee, we can serve coffee for tea. So please, continue, spend time together. Before you go, I want to give thanks to Donna.
This is true.
Three cheers for
Yeah, so studs are probably, well, it was, whatever.
Thank you to our worship band.
Wow.
Thank you to those who have been really appreciate
Open it up.
really great.
Well, see, let me just-
We gotta finish them up, though. I guess we can have some left. Don't finish them off. We got some left. Let me just offer a benediction. Simple. Go in the
No,
As if you-
So.